What's up YouTube? It's Elijah the Hero, and today we have got a Marvel Midnight Suns Deadpool review. If you did not know, Deadpool is now in the Midnight Suns game. He is a playable character, and I'm going to break down the good, the bad, and kind of the ugly about him being in the game, or I guess I should say the annoyance about him being in the game. But yeah, let's get into it.
When he finds me, I'll be...
Deadpool?
There it is! You go, new guy! And by that, I still obviously mean the new, fully customizable...
Come back with us to the Abbey.
No.
The magical wards will protect you.
No. Hell no.
You can hide there. Help us track down Sin.
No!
Starting off this review, I want to talk about Deadpool as a character and what he brings to the game and what type of, kind of hero he is in this game. I would have to say that I believe that Deadpool is kind of a single damage dealer with team building buffs. I would say that, he is the centerpiece around the other two characters that you're playing as. He definitely is the person that you want to buff up the most, especially his passive. It's called En Fuego. And with that, he can buff his attacks. Like, if he has an attack that does 1 chain damage, if you have full En Fuego, he can do 7 chain attacks. So it's really cool to have him buff and have your passive up at all the time. He is probably going to be your main damage dealer if you have him with a certain team. He is also good for, clearing out one-hit enemies with his chain attack. So I would say that he's probably plays similar to Blade the most. And I feel like he's a decent character overall. I prefer characters that have AoEs and bigger attack radiuses like Iron Man. But he's sufficient enough. I like his cards, I like his kit. He's just very situational, it seems like. So, but I mean, Marvel Midnight Suns is not that hard of a game unless you put him on the hardest difficulty. But yeah, you should be able to play him with any other characters. But if you're on a harder difficulty, I would say that he is most likely going to be your single target damage dealer. Now I want to talk about Deadpool as a character and how he interacts with the Midnight Suns or the team. I guess we could start off by Deadpool's voice. If you heard it a little bit, it is Nolan North voicing him again. He voiced him in the Deadpool video game, the PS3 one, and he has reprised his role as Deadpool. I feel like Deadpool in this is a very Ryan Reynolds movie type of Deadpool, that kind of humor, the kind of adult cartoon kind of humor. And he's pretty funny in this movie. I think he's only made me laugh, in this game, I think he only made me laugh once or twice. And that's pretty good. I feel like his humor is alright in the game. None of the Suns like him, or I should say none of the characters like him. They all don't want him to be on the team. They all don't want him to be in the Abbey. But he is in the Abbey. And I guess the only person who really kind of likes him, depending on your way you speak to them, is your character. But it seems like overall your character is nice to Deadpool and more sympathetic, and you get mean options to Deadpool. So there's that. I kind of feel like you're forced to actually like him. I'm guessing that's because he's so well liked within the Marvel mythos. But I guess I'm just saying, I feel like it took a little bit of your choices away with talking to Deadpool and kind of being mean to him and kind of being like everybody else is just annoyed of him. You don't really get that option to be that way with Deadpool. I also felt like he didn't really have enough to say about kind of other characters as a whole. He really just literally talked about himself most of the time or the events of the game. He really didn't have that much banter with any of the other characters except for Blade. Blade's the only person he talked to, and I'm going to let you know the reason why Blade is the only person he talked to. Later on, we'll get into the little story about the DLC. But yeah, Blade is the only person he talked to, really, and your character most of the time. But nobody really talks to Deadpool. People kind of just talk about him to you. But yeah, that's really him in the Abbey. He's kind of just there now. Typically with DLCs, they always bring something new to the game, whether that's a new item that changes the way the game is played, or a new character who changes the way the game is played, just something that overall changes gameplay or adds something to enhance the quality of the gameplay. Deadpool only comes with one thing that does that. He comes with a food truck that gives you buffs before missions, kind of the buffs that you get when you rest your character up. But that is all that Deadpool really comes with when he comes to this DLC. But you know, it's kind of cool. You get to see the food truck outside the Abbey the whole entire time. There's really nobody cooking in it, but when you go near it, you hear cooking sounds, and that's kind of the only thing he really comes with besides the character himself. Now we can talk about the weakest part of the DLC, and I just want to let you know that this is a spoiler warning. I am going to get into spoilers, so if you do not want to hear spoilers, you guys can just skip to the end to hear my final verdict, but let's get into it. I believe the weakest part about this DLC, unfortunately, is the story and the length of it. Honestly, I felt like this wasn't worth the price point. I paid for the season pass, so I was gonna get it regardless. But the reason why I say that, the story starts off with you guys kind of getting a distress signal from this museum. You go there, you see Deadpool's there sneaking around, and you also see that Sin is there. She was referred to in the beginning of the game with Crossbones, saying that I guess they used to date or something like that in the base game, but now you actually get to see what she looks like, and she is the granddaughter of the Red Skull, so of course she's a part of Hydra, and she used to lead Hydra. You figure out she's a vampire, and that is what you figure out is the main villains of the game, or this DLC, is vampires. So you're fighting vampires, so that's why Blade gets involved, because he is a daywalker and vampire slayer. So he gets involved. Deadpool and Blade go on a mission together where they find out that vampires are kind of just running amok looking for this book. I don't remember the name of it because Deadpool keeps calling it different things throughout the whole entire DLC, but they're looking for this book that allows them to, like, based off, kill off any of their weaknesses so they can go in during the day. Stakes don't hurt them and stuff like that, so basically all their weaknesses would be gone. It's basically like Deus Ex Machina for them. That is the main premise. You're trying to get this book, and Deadpool has this mysterious client who he doesn't want to say who it is throughout the whole entire game, but you kind of already know who it is if you played the end of the base game. Spoiler alert, it's Dr. Doom. He is the one who hired Deadpool to go get this book. I guess he has beef with vampires. So you figure out that Sin is working for somebody else too to get this book. You ultimately foil her with this like 5 missions. So it's like this DLC is like an hour long. You get the book, you beat Sin, and that's pretty much the end. There's a kind of cliffhanger ending, and somebody's talking to Sin, and I feel like everybody should know who this is. And if you don't want this spoiled, I encourage you to go to the end. Spoiler, it's Dracula. She's talking to Dracula at the end of the DLC, so he is probably going to be the next big boss DLC that we play, and it's probably most likely going to be Morbius who's going to come next after Deadpool, which is a shame because I just want Storm, and I feel like she's going to be the last person we get, unfortunately, but I'm pretty sure Morbius is going to be next, unless they put the whole vampire thing on pause and then just give us Storm. But I'm pretty sure Morbius is going to be next. Not that big of a Morbius fan, but I think maybe he might be cool. I think it might be cool to have all the bleed effects, but Blade has that, and I wonder how Blade's going to be around another vampire. So like, are these DLCs going to be very Blade centric, I guess? But yeah, it seems like Dracula is going to be the next boss, and we're leaving the Doctor Doom thing on a cliffhanger because I'm pretty sure there's going to be a Marvel Midnight Suns 2 with that cliffhanger, and he's probably going to be the main villain. But yeah, that's pretty much the story. And my problem with this story is that if you talk to the other characters, your character says that she believes that Sin is helping her mother. Her mother is Lilith, the main villain of the game, and spoiler alert again, if you play the end of the game, you figure out, or it's revealed that both of Hunter and Lilith got sealed away with Chthon. My problem with this is there's already a solidified ending to this game, and that kind of breaks the ending because that means Deadpool wasn't there. It's kind of like a big plot hole, and he was in the Abbey, but since this takes place before that, like, did he leave the Abbey before you actually fought Lilith? Like, I think we need like an explanation for that, and it's really weird. It just kind of breaks the immersion in the story of the game, and it kind of creates a plot hole because if the case that Deadpool was there and he said that he exclusively works for the Midnight Suns now, why was he not at the end of the game? Like, I feel like this should have been like a after the game. I know they wanted to leave the game on that kind of cliffhanger, but this ruins it a little bit. And if that's the case, that all the stories are going to take place in between the Hulk fight and the Lilith fight, because Hulk is there, so it takes place in between those two spaces. All these characters and all these events happen between that, but they're not at the end fight. That doesn't make any sense. Does not make any sense at all. Other than the story and the length of the DLC, I do feel like this was a pretty decent DLC from Marvel's Midnight Suns. If I had to give it a rating through 1 through 5, I give it about a 3 out of 5. There are a lot of good things, but I feel like the story and the length just brought it down. If you're a Deadpool fan, I say get this DLC. If you're a Marvel Midnight Suns fan, I say get this DLC. But if you kind of thought this game was like middle of the road or just an okay game, I would say this DLC is not for you. This DLC is for people who are Deadpool fans and who generally like Marvel Midnight Suns and just want to be in this world a lot more. And I feel like it's just kind of for those people. I'm in the second camp where, you know, I just want to explore this world more and see how other things are connected and other villains and what they're doing, and, you know, just how it all comes together and connects at the end. So that's why I got the DLC. But yeah, if you're kind of like, I don't know about Marvel Midnight Suns, or I play Marvel Midnight Suns, but I'm just not really enjoying it that much, and don't get this DLC and don't get the season pass. But yeah, that's been my review of the Deadpool DLC. Let me know what you guys think. Who do you want to be the next DLC character to come if you're still playing this game? Me personally, I want Storm, but like I said earlier, I think it's probably going to be Morbius next. If you want the reasons, you're going to have to listen to the spoilers, unfortunately. But yeah, let me know who you want next. I've been Elijah the Hero. Peace. Thanks for watching the video. Like, comment, and subscribe. Push the notification bell to be notified for new videos. And remember, have a great day.